It's time for cup of tea.
Hey, what's happening? Welcome to another episode of Cup of Tea. My name is Thato Immaculate, and today I'm super excited because we are all the way in the Vaal. Now, the thing about the Vaal is that it's very quiet, it's very serene, river, nature, etc. So one would ask, oh, what is the Cressking doing all the way in the Mid-Vaal? But we're going to find all of that out, because when you think Cressking, you think things like air suspension, engine, cars. Let me quickly call him because I'm actually chilling here waiting for him. So let me call him and find out where he is so that he can pick me up and that you can get to know him. But you already here, so you might as well hit the subscribe button, like, comment, share, and let's get it. Let me call him. When I do la mokyat. But you Ignitius Ohuka. Aight.
Yeah, where I still reside even now. So yeah, no, in the diploma Merton.
Merton, and then you went to which primary school?
I went to Merton Primary School. Yeah, MPS is somewhere. MPS is somewhere. So yeah, you know, man.
So
you've always been home girl. What's it?
So how do you think somebody would describe you as a learner, as a student? How were you?
I wouldn't really say that I was a student. I think I was, yeah, if there's something called a B student, then I was a B student. I was just average, you know. Yeah, I had my times, but you know when you're a boy. But yeah, man, life after primary school and high school is where I started actually focusing a bit on my academics, but tertiary life is where I started, I think, becoming an A student. So yeah.
So about high school, we know that you were actually Mr. Riverside. Oh, not, you weren't Mr. Riverside. You didn't actually win, but people wanted you to win.
Well, actually, I did win, but second place.
Yeah, second place. So you didn't get the title.
Yeah, but the people in school categorized me as Mr. Riverside.
Mr.
You know,
Riverside.
yeah, Prince Riverside. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what they called me.
All right. So now tell me, was that the first time and the last time that you ever did modeling? Kapa?
Yeah, it was the first and last time, and modeling is not something that I've actually really been into, you know. I was just like, you know what, let me just try it out and see what it guys. So
What is it then that you were into? So as when you were growing up, what is it that you wanted to become? Before cars found
before cars found me, I've always been into cars.
you? Okay. So you wanted to...
Well, growing up, I actually wanted to become something that is quite tricky. I wanted to become an astronaut. But
An astronaut?
you know what? Yeah, an astronaut needs a A student. I don't know, man. I just had a thing of you know, flying.
To infinity and
Oh
beyond.
yeah. I've just always had that thing. So yeah.
All right. So then now, how did you find cars? Because people don't know this. So you got this car. So tell us the background about this car. What do we call this car? What?
This is a Toyota Cressida. It's a
No, the name that you give it.
Oh, it's called Coco.
Coco, okay? So we're sitting on top of Coco. So how did you get Coco? Because you got her when you were very young. Just tell us the story.
Coco's story, yeah, you know, okay, well, Coco originally used to belong to my dad. You see, so with time and things changing, people leave classic cars and jump into new cars. So this was always at home, and it's a car that I've always loved, you know, and it's a car that, okay, my dad still loved the car, but he was like, you know what, I think it's high time that I actually just hand the car over to you and you'll sort yourself out. How old was I? I think I was 16. I think I was 16, yeah.
16?
Yeah, I think I was 16, but I started working on the car in 2011, yeah. That's when I started, working on this project.
So what is the first thing that you did on the car?
And
where did you get the money for a car? Because I know it's very expensive to modify.
Yeah, it is an expensive sport. Well, I was still in high school, so if you recall, I used to transport kids, like, you know, I was kind of like a chauffeur, so yeah, that's where the hustle started beginning, you know, and on weekends sometimes having like a few modification jobs for certain friends that, you know what, Maps, hook me up with sound, hook me up with this and that. So yeah, that's how I actually started raising capital to build this baby.
So just to be clear, you first worked on this car yourself?
Yes.
In high school?
Yes, in high school.
With your own money?
Yes, with my own money.
That is insane. That is insane. With your own money, yourself, no training, you decided, I'm going to open this engine and work on it.
Yeah,
so what's the first thing that you did?
Well, the car was pretty beat up, man. I think you remember when the
I don't know if we have a picture. If we do have a picture, I'll put
it
it
was
in.
pretty beat up, so the whole car's a full rebuild, a full restoration. So we stripped everything with this other friend of mine that paints cars, Reuben Motsepe. Because it's an old car, it's an 85 model, there were a few rusted places that we had to cut out, you know, just to get the car to be proper body-wise. And then I started off with the paint job. From paint job, I moved on to interior. The seats were beat up, and then I covered the seats in leather interior. But at the time, it was still vinyl because I wasn't really that guapped, you know. So it was just vinyl leather. And then after that, what did I do? I got myself a set of BBS rims, just fitted rims on the car, lowered the
just a little bit. BBS rims, is this the rims that everybody has? I've seen the...
Yes, well, BBS is the common rim.
Very expensive, but unzele counter chalete mona. Okay, yes, but please, then you got rims.
And then after the rims, I think about a year or two passed, and then I got myself the moonroof, the panoramic sunroof. Yeah, that's what I got. And then after that, I got coilovers, so that I could adjust the ride height, you know. So...
Not really sure what that is, but I think you're going to show us all of that. We'll definitely show you all of that.
Well, it doesn't have coilovers currently. The car's on air suspension now.
Oh yeah, so air suspension is the thing that makes the car go up and down.
Yeah, you just make it go up and down. And so many things were done, man. And then I got sound, started doing things like interior lighting, you know, changing clusters, working on the engine. Okay, the engine was also one of the first things that we did, because the engine is a full rebuild. It wasn't really as strong as it was when the car was new.
Full rebuild?
Yeah, full rebuild from ground up. We're talking about from the crank, conrods, pistons, headwork, everything, the works. So yeah, the car's just a total restoration. That's what I pretty much can say about it.
So it's something that always happens that I know about is that people often come to you and they give you, you know, a price or an offer to say that, you know, sell me this car. So what is the highest bidding price you've ever received for this car that you've obviously rejected because you still have the car?
Yeah, I think it's in 2018 at German versus Jap in July. I got offered 240k.
200 and you didn't take it.
Unfair. To sentimental value, you see, it used to belong to my dad, and my grandfather was actually the one that hooked my dad up with this car, you see.
Are you saying, well, no matter the price, there's absolutely no way you want to
No,
sell?
I ain't selling this. Even if I don't think I'd need the money, but even if I did, I don't think I'd still sell the car.
So it's that. So it's not for sale.
Yeah, it will never be for sale, trust me.
And now speaking of money, you've definitely won a lot of competitions. As a matter of fact, let's go. Do you remember the first title that you ever won? Do you remember that competition or that day?
Yeah, it was for best sound, and it was here in Merton actually, just next to the engine garage. There was a show there held by Celtics Tuning, so they had people pull through testing sound, and yeah, I still had my Targa subs back then and my mono block. So yeah, the car pushed, I think, 132 decibels, so that's pretty much loud. So that's the first title that I actually won with this car.
Not that I know what that is, but I assume that it's very loud. I think what it means is that, look at Mpho, you can hear him on the freeway. From my house, I can hear him from the freeway that he's coming. So that's what you mean.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, the car's pretty much loud.
So now take us through some of these titles that you've won, if you can remember all of them, because I know it's quite a lot.
It's quite a lot, man. It's quite a lot. Eh?
Or maybe the top 5
top
achievements, the things that stand out to you.
Okay, well, let me see. I always win best classic at these shows.
What does that mean?
Best classic means that the best, and then you remodel it, still try and maintain that classic thing, go in with it, and then that's the title that I won. I've also won best wheel, meaning that the best rim at the show. The car's got a custom made OEM Cressida rim that was fabricated at
Custom made. So who makes these rims?
A friend of mine that works at Mac Lab, King. He's the one that actually custom made the rim.
Shout outs.
Shout out to King. So he's the one that actually custom made the wheel. It took a long time, man, because it was one of the first wheels where it was widened to that extent. You see, we'll come into widening wheels, we talk about J size. So what happened with those wheels is that the rear size is 10 Js and then the front ones are 9 Js. That's the width of the wheels. So the wheel was so wide that in the center it had to be cut, and a 14-inch rim was welded in the center, and then on the side another 15-inch rim. You have to step it back to 15, and then on the other side you step it again to 15, just to maintain the strength, and then to get that stretch. So
all right, so that was what best rim, and then your other two best achievements or things that stand out for whatever reason.
Well, okay, it's not really something that I've won, but when you're coming up and you're building your reputation in the car game, I met up with Sean from Skid Marks. He's the one that actually just kind of put me out there, and after that exclusive interview with him, I got an interview with the Citizen newspaper. So for me that was huge. For me that was huge. I mean, I started getting recognition in what I do, They do say that passion does pay off, so I never thought that I'd get the fame and being known, and so
you never thought you'd get the fame, says Mr. Riverside. Anyway, so speaking of recognition, people don't know this, but you were recently in the Lodge music video. Did you get paid for that? I'm gonna ask.
Yeah, I did get paid.
You got paid?
Yeah, you cannot pull.
What's the and I like money. So what's the highest somebody has paid you for, paid promo to use your car?
I normally do metric dances. Okay, well, the price of the music videos, unfortunately, I can't mention that in this.
Okay, you can't disclose that.
Yeah,
okay.
But gigs that I do normally, if I were to pull the car out for a day, if somebody probably a metric dance or pulling up to a show where they want me over there, we're talking roughly between 4 grand to about 6.5, depending.
For an appearance?
Yes, just an appearance, and that's not much.
For how long? An hour? You give them the whole night?
The whole day. Because I'm a petrol head, so one of the reasons why I do go there is obviously because I'm just interested in the whole car vibe. It's not really for the Zag, but I do get paid for it. So
4 grand just to show your car.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of showing your car, and it's not about the Zag and it's about the passion. Something that you have done is, that your team has done is the VSO. VSO is the Vaal stands off.
Yes,
And
yes.
we were actually supposed to have one this year, but coronavirus happened.
Hey, the Rona.
Yeah, the Rona.
Yeah, the Rona's just
So
gone
tell
out
us a
of
bit
town.
about VSO.
VSO means putting the Vaal on the map in terms of the car scene and the car industry. You know, people from the Vaal, we've never really had a car show that was massive in the Vaal. Like Vaal people, like enthusiasts, we always go to shows in Joburg, in Pretoria and whatnot, you know. So I was like, nah, you know what, I need to bring something of this magnitude in the Vaal, you see. So we met up with my team, the Vaal Xclusive guys, and then we just contemplated on making a show that was not just going to benefit us as a team, but the money that we do raise at the show actually a certain percentage of it goes to charity. So we actually wanted to give back to the community and just to show the kids around the Vaal what being passionate about cars is all about, you know, just showcasing something different in the Vaal.
I think it's very, very amazing what you guys are doing, but it's Vaal Xclusive. So Vaal Xclusive is basically a group
Yeah,
of
it's a car group.
a car group of
Stance guys, you know, cars that build, guys that actually build their cars for stance.
So maybe one of the most important questions that we need to ask is what is the difference between stunts and I don't know what it's called, but what is the difference? Is car lifestyle? Kappa is stunts different?
Yeah, stance is
Spinning
different.
different.
Yeah, it's all
what
just
is the
different
difference?
categories. Spinning is it's an entertainment, it's a sport, you see. Where actually people perform stunts with cars, burn rubber, you know, that's
And you're not into that?
well, I was into that. Yeah, then it's way more expensive than stunts. So
Yeah, I can imagine, especially
yeah,
tires.
especially tires, especially if you don't have a sponsor and you're new into the game, you buy your own tires, you build your own engine, so it's quite expensive, you see. So with stunts, it's still expensive, but you can take your time and, you know, we'll come into these cars, man. For us, they're a piece of, it's not, let me just say, they're like a work of art in a sense, you know, you build them with time. It's not something that you rush. So yeah, like I've been building this car for the past, I think, 9 years or so now, if not more, you see. So with stunts, you can take your time.
And it's all about showcasing your
Yeah, it's
art
just
and
about
expressing
showcasing your
yourself
car,
through.
yes. The name stunts, it's not necessarily about like how low your car can go. Stunts is how your car sits in terms of talking about your fitment, how your wheels sit closer to your fenders, yes, your stance, how you, your stance. So yeah, stance is pretty much about that. So yeah, and just modifying your cars, obviously with a nice wheel interior, you know, just the works.
All right. So ultimately, what is then the goal in terms of your car, in terms of stunts, in terms of Vaal Xclusive? What is your ultimate dream? Where do you want to go with this?
I just want to see VSO growing a bit bigger, you know. I just want to introduce a lot of people into like this game. You see, if you hooked onto this motorsport game, it keeps you away from trouble, man. So I want to see the young ones become a bit more passionate about motorsport in general, not just dance, but just motorsport in general. So that's pretty much the ultimate goal that I have for my team. And then will come into me, I don't know, only time will tell. Only time will tell. But I do want to see myself growing a bit more inside, like in this whole car game.
So what would you tell a 16-year-old? You were 16 when you got your car. And you say that you encourage young kids to get into this game. So a 16-year-old, 16, 17, 18-year-old, what would you say to them? Obviously, they need to get a license. I think that's step one.
Well,
Step one.
Well, by the time I started working on this car, I didn't even have a license. But, you know, it's not like I was driving it around, obviously, but I was building it, you know, just probably driving it around in the yard, maybe learning how to drive. But what I'd say to them is this:
what would you say to them in terms of how to get into it? So how do they start?
Contact people that have been in the game. Like I've got a lot of people, you know, that's obviously where you have to start. Find out more, do research about the whole game, the car game. Unfortunately, when I started, I had to dig, like, you know, you know. So yeah, I just tell them, like, they can just probably hit me up on Instagram and just ask me a few questions, because I do get a lot of people that inbox me and go like, hey, how do we get into this whole car game thing? So first thing I'd say is that just keep your head up, try and find a source of income, maybe a weekend job or something, just to build up the capital to get into the game. And then, yeah, man, you can the simplest things that you can probably start with in this game is buying a set of rims and obviously maybe a drop kit or even a coilover kit.
Drop kit, coil over kit.
To lower your suspension, get the right fitment. That is what stance is all about, you see. So that's what I'd advise them on doing. And the other thing is try and start with a clean foundation. That way you spend less. So if your car's going to be like a full restoration, it's quite costly. It'll take you a long time to get to where you want to go. So if you're going to go out there and buy a car, if you're going to receive something at home, just make sure that it's still in good tech. You see, that's the foundation that you need to start on, and then you'll just build your way up from there.
All right. So, few last questions, but now you need to recall. Okay. So, what has been? Let me give you a scenario. So, when we were driving around in town, you get all of this attention, all of this attention. Harder more aiming, and people didn't stop you, right?
Yeah.
And then. So if I were to ask you, if somebody were to ask you, what is the best part or the best thing about driving your car, or your fondest memory or your fondest experience?
Let me just say, driving the car in general, I've never had a dull moment, you know. Wherever I pull up, there's people that are going to be complimenting and stuff, you know, because it's not every day where you see an old school Cressida like this work, you know. So what I like is seeing the young ones go crazy over the car, you know, like chasing you, running after the car. That's what excites me. So even if I'm having a bad day, just taking a drive with the car and putting it out and having people react to it on the street is actually,
reacting to your body of work.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching today's Cup of Tea. Thank you so much, Cressking, for joining us today. You're already at the end of this video. You might as well subscribe because you're going to be here next time. We'll see you next time. Like this video, share this video, and we're out. Okay,
Yeah.
remember he's single.
Subscribe and
Subscribe.